Yo, what is up guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm gonna show you how to go from this to this. So I'm gonna show you how to get advanced chords, really good chords, professional chords, emotional chords, powerful chords, and all of that in a really easy way. And the good thing is that you don't really need to know a lot about music theory. I'm a person that I've never went to music classes, well, just the normal music lessons in school, but I can play guitar, I can play piano, I don't know how to play any instrument, but I know how to make these chords. So that's what I'm gonna show you today. With some tips, I'm gonna show you how to get these advanced chords without knowing anything about music theory. And well, with that being said, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and let's start with this tutorial. The first thing is that, well, if you know about music theory, you know in what scale you are, you know what notes are inside this scale, so you know what notes you can play and what notes you cannot play. But if you don't know music theory, you need to do this. As I never use these samples, what I do is go here, right click, replace, and put it on none. So now there is no sample here, so there is no sound. What I'm gonna do is click on the piano roll, click here, and choose major or minor scale. In EDM, the most common is to use minor scales. I'm not saying that all the tracks are in minor, there are a lot of tracks in major, but as the most generic one or the most used one are minor. And as you can see, we have a lot of minor scales, but well, I'm just gonna use the natural one. And if we put it on A, as you can see, are all the white keys of the piano. But well, what I'm gonna do is make this a lot shorter like this, and I'm gonna copy and put it in some different octaves. And now I'm gonna put this here and again here. And now if you go to the piano roll of another sound, as you can see, we can see here those keys. And well, if you don't see it, just click Alt V and you can see them. So all of these marked notes are the notes we can use in this scale. So this way you make sure that you don't use chords that are not in the scale, so you don't have anything out of key. And now we're gonna start with a really basic chord progression, just with one note. And well, with what note we should start? We're gonna start with any note of the scale, but my advice is to start with the first or with the fourth. Let me explain this. If we go down here, we can see where the scale starts. So our first note, the root note of the key, is A. And we can count, this is the first, this is the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh. So we can start our chord with A or with the fourth, with D. You can start also with E, with C, with B, but that's just my advice, it's like the more generic things and the things that usually work better. I'm just gonna start creating a basic chord progression, but just with one note in every chord. So we have this. So now we have like the baseline notes. So how can we start creating the chords? It's so easy, you just need to count. You need to count 3. It's so easy, let me show you. In this chord, the root note is A, so this is the first note of the chord. And we need to count 3 notes inside the scale. So this is the first one, this is not in the scale, so we don't count it. This is the second note on the scale, so this is 2, and then 3. So here we put another note. Then from here we start and count 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. So here we have our chord. This is a minor chord and sometimes cannot really work, or you want to add another vibe. What you can do is create a major chord that is counting. First you count 4 and then you count 3. So instead of this, what we're gonna do is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And from here 1, 2, and 3. Don't forget to count the note that you are in. So this is a major chord. But well, for this tutorial I'm just gonna go with minor, and let's do the same with all the chords. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. So we have this chord progression. Was kind of easy, right? And you don't need to know about music theory, or actually you don't really need to know what is a chord. You just follow these steps and you have a chord. But this is so basic and it's like so close, all the notes are close to the other and the chord is not open. So to help on this, to have like more voices or open the voices of the chord, what we can do is create inversions. An inversion is something really easy. What you need to do is just take one of the notes of the chord and put it 1 octave higher or lower, or too high or too low. So for example, this would be an inversion, this would be another inversion, this would be another inversion, but if you overdo it, it's gonna sound like this. And it sounds so bad. But actually, this is the same chord as before, so this is still a minor chord. And my advice on this is just to take the second note of the chord and put it 1 octave higher. This is gonna work always. So just take this one and put it 1 octave higher, take this one and put it 1 octave higher, and take these two and put them 1 octave higher. So now it's gonna sound like this. So as you can see now, it's more open and it sounds a lot better, at least in my opinion. But this is still kind of basic and the chord is not powerful, you know. We can do a lot more things. What I'm gonna do now is take the root note of every chord, okay, these notes here, and I'm gonna copy it 1 octave lower and 1 octave higher. So just from this, I'm gonna move it here, and from this, I'm gonna move it up here. So now the chord sounds like this. As you can see now, this chord has a lot of body and adds more emotion to it. And it's just by repeating the notes, you know. You can do this also with other notes, but again, don't overdo it, because if you overdo all of these tips, at the end you're gonna have really bad chords. So what you can also do is copy the fifth of the chord and put it 1 octave higher. So in this case, as I said before, we started in A, this is the first, C was the third that we inverted, and E was the fifth. So now what we can do is take this one and copy and put it 1 octave higher. And do the same with the other chords, and now it sounds like this. But of course, you don't need to follow all the same steps for every chord. For example, in this one, I like how this one works here, but in this one, I don't really like it. I think it's too high, so I'm just gonna delete it, and now it sounds like this. And what you can also do is add a note that is gonna add a lot of emotion to the chords, and this is the seventh. I just put the chords as in the beginning, so it's easy to see. And as I said, this is the first, this is the third, and this is the fifth. So just count 3 times again, and you're gonna have the seventh. 1, 2, and 3. This is the seventh. And if you take a look, this is the previous note of the first. So to make it easier, instead of counting all the time, is just take the first note and put the one before, but 1 octave higher. So now we have the seventh of the chords. As you can see, it adds a lot of emotion to it, and let's try them with the big chords we created before. What I'm gonna do now is just take the previous one, so this, 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 and this, and I'm gonna put them at the highest as possible. They need to be up high, you know, the higher notes of the chord. Of course, you can also put them like in the middle, and it's gonna add emotion, but in my opinion, it's gonna work better if it's up high. But I don't recommend you to start the track with the seventh, because otherwise it's not gonna feel like you're adding emotion to it. If you want to use the seventh, what I recommend you do is to start the chords just as they are, you know, without the seventh, and then as the track is evolving, for example in the breakdown, start adding the seventh, you know, in some parts, or where the vocal is so important, or things like that. So this way the listener is gonna feel this emotion in that part. But if you have the seventh all the time, there is not gonna be any change, so they're not gonna feel any extra emotion. And also, if you want to go a bit further in this, what you can do is add the ninth note of the chord. This is something I rarely use, but I'm just gonna show you in case you want to use it. So if we come back to those basic chords, the ninth is just count again 3 times from the seventh, 1, 2, and 3. But as you can see, if we start on the root note of the key, this is the second, but 1 octave higher. And with the ninth, we're gonna have something like this. And if we try it on the big chords, are these notes marked here? It sounds like this. And without it sounds like this. As you can see, if the chords are kind of basic, we can easily hear them, but if we have a lot of chords like in the advanced chords, we cannot really hear them, or we don't see a big difference. But well, it's just something that you can try, and if it works, and use it. So the thing here, as you can see, it just add notes that are gonna work in the chord. You can try all the notes of the scale, you know, but these ones that I show you are the ones that are gonna work better for each chord, and also are the ones like the safest thing that you can do. But from here, what I recommend to do is try to be a bit more creative, you know, maybe add extra chords, or take out some notes, add more notes, put more chords for every bar, or change the rhythm of them. So this way you're gonna be a bit more creative, and you're gonna have a bit better chords, in my opinion. So for example, if you have this chord progression, what you can do to help on the rhythm is to start the second one a bit before. So we can put it like here and make this a bit longer, so now it's gonna sound like this. Or what you can do is add another chord. For example, I'm gonna put a chord here, so now it sounds like this. And we can put this chord in every bar, for example. And as here is exactly the same, what we can do is in this part have two different chords, and this one have it at the second part. So what I'm gonna do is copy the first one and then the chord we had here, and now it's gonna sound like this. So as you can see, guys, it's kind of easy to create this kind of chords. It's just counting and being a bit creative and trying to add more harmonies by adding more notes or copying some notes octave higher or octave lower. So I hope these tips help you to create now better chords for your tracks. And if it did, just please leave a like. And if you have any more tips to create better chords, just leave them down below in the comments. Also, please, guys, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything I do, any tutorial, any video, any song I release, any sample pack and things like that. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and see you in the next video.